There is a moment every cockatoo owner knows. The lights go down, the room goes still, and somewhere behind you, on a perch inside a covered cage, a small body shifts, tucks its beak into its back feathers, and disappears into a kind of silence you've never really thought about. You assume nothing is happening in there. You assume sleep is blank, dark, empty. You're wrong. And what's actually happening inside that skull may be the most staggering thing you learn about your bird this year. If you've ever watched your cockatoo fall asleep and wondered what's going on behind those closed eyes, subscribe, because this one is going to stay with you. For decades, science assumed dreaming was a mammalian privilege. Humans dream, dogs dream, rats dream, birds just shut off. That assumption collapsed in the year 2000, when a neuroscientist named Daniel Margoliouth at MIT did something no one had done before. He recorded the brain activity of zebra finches while they sang during the day, mapping the exact sequence of neurons that fired for each note, each pause, each phrase. Then he recorded the same birds while they slept, and during REM sleep, the rapid eye movement phase that every mammalian dreaming study points to as the stage where dreams occur, those finches replayed the exact same neuronal sequences, note for note, pause for pause. The same motor patterns fired as if the bird were singing. The same auditory circuits activated as if the bird were hearing its own song. The bird was not just resting, it was rehearsing. It was hearing music that wasn't playing. It was dreaming its own song back to itself inside a sleeping brain. That study broke everything open. Birds don't just sleep, they dream. And their dreams contain replayed experiences drawn directly from their waking life. Now here is where it gets personal. Because a zebra finch is a small bird with a relatively simple vocal repertoire. It sings one song, it dreams that song. The loop is tight. A cockatoo is not a zebra finch. A cockatoo is one of the most cognitively complex birds on the planet. Documented tool use, deliberate problem solving, rhythmic musical processing. They are one of the only non-human species that can synchronize movement to a beat, and their emotional bonding architecture rivals that of primates. Inside a cockatoo's brain sits a region called the nidopallium caudolaterale. It is proportionally massive relative to their brain size, and it functions as the avian equivalent of the human prefrontal cortex, the structure most heavily involved in memory consolidation, emotional processing, and social relationship mapping. In human neuroscience, those three functions are the exact systems that generate dream content. Your prefrontal cortex doesn't dream about random static. It dreams about the people you love, the moments that mattered, the faces your emotions tagged as significant. A cockatoo's brain has every structural component necessary to do the same thing. Not simple sensory replay, emotionally rich, relationally specific dream experiences involving the individuals they are most deeply bonded to. And now consider what cockatoo owners have been reporting for years without knowing the science behind it. The soft, mumbling vocalizations during sleep. Not random chirps, but muffled, quieter versions of the exact words and phrases the bird uses during the day when it's interacting with its owner. The foot twitching and grip adjustments on the sleeping perch that mirror the stepping up motion they perform onto a human hand. The crest micro-movements during REM phases that cycle through the same emotional positions, raised, lowered, fanned, flattened, that the bird displays during waking interactions with you, and then the one that stops owners cold every time they witness it. The phenomenon reported independently by hundreds of cockatoo owners across forums, veterinary waiting rooms, and late-night social media posts. A sleeping cockatoo, in the dead middle of the night, in total darkness, quietly whispers its owner's name, or their specific contact call, in a voice nothing like its daytime volume, a murmur, a breath. The Margoliouth framework gives us the explanation. If sleeping birds replay their most practiced daytime vocal patterns during REM, then a cockatoo who spends the overwhelming majority of its waking social hours vocalizing to, listening to, and emotionally engaging with one specific human would replay those exact auditory and emotional sequences during dream states. When your cockatoo murmurs your name at 2 in the morning, it is not awake and calling for you. It is asleep, and you are in its dream. Now consider what fills those dreams. Human dream research has established a consistent principle. Dream content is disproportionately weighted toward emotionally significant experiences, not mundane ones. You don't dream about the hours you spent sitting at a desk. You dream about the argument, the kiss, the phone call that changed something. If this principle applies to cockatoos, and their emotional processing architecture suggests it does, then their dreams are not filled with the quiet hours on the perch. They are filled with the peaks. The excitement of your morning greeting when the cover comes off, the warmth of your fingers scratching behind the crest, the sharp distress of watching you walk toward the door, the euphoria of hearing your key in the lock at the end of the day. Your cockatoo's dream life may be an emotional highlight reel of its relationship with you, playing on repeat, every single night, and the neurochemistry supports it. During REM sleep, the avian brain releases mesotocin, the bird equivalent of oxytocin, the molecule directly associated with social bonding and the feeling of being loved. Your cockatoo may be neurochemically experiencing the sensation of being close to you, of being safe with you, of being loved by you, while it sleeps. Even when you are not in the room, even when the house is dark and you are upstairs and you have no idea that inside that covered cage, a brain is bathing itself in the chemistry of your bond. But there is a darker edge to this, and it needs to be said. The same sleep architecture that replays love also replays fear. Cockatoo night frights, the sudden violent thrashing on the perch in complete darkness that every cockatoo owner dreads, have always been explained as simple startle responses. A shadow, a car light, a sound. But the neuroscience raises a harder possibility. A cockatoo experiencing REM sleep has an active emotional brain replaying stored experiences. Some of those experiences are warm, some are not. Cockatoos with a history of rehoming, neglect, isolation, or rough handling carry those memories in the same consolidation systems that build dream content. And unlike human memory, which has some capacity for temporal context, you can remember something happened long ago, avian memory consolidation does not neatly tag time. A traumatic experience from 5 years ago can replay during REM with the same neurochemical intensity as something that happened this afternoon. A rescued cockatoo sleeping safely in your home may still be dreaming, tonight, about a room it hasn't seen in years, about hands that weren't yours, about a silence that meant no one was coming. Night frights may not always be startle reflexes. Some of them may be nightmares, and the bird cannot tell you what it saw. And then there is the question that will sit in your chest and not leave. Do cockatoos who have lost their owners dream about them after they're gone? The honest answer, based on everything we now understand about memory consolidation during sleep, is almost certainly yes. A cockatoo who spent 20 or 30 years bonded to one human has decades of emotionally saturated memories encoded in neural pathways that do not simply erase when that person stops appearing. The voice, the morning routine, the specific way the cover was lifted, the sound of a particular laugh, those memories are structurally embedded. And during REM sleep, when the brain reaches into its most emotionally significant archives to build that night's experience, those memories surface. A rehomed cockatoo, or a cockatoo who has outlived its person, is, in the most literal neuroscientific sense, visiting someone who no longer exists, walking onto a hand that is no longer there, hearing a name spoken in a voice the waking world will never produce again. They are dreaming their way back to a person they cannot find when they open their eyes. And they may do this for years. Tonight, when you turn off the lights and leave the room, your cockatoo will settle onto its sleeping perch. It will tuck its beak into its back feathers. Its eyes will close. And somewhere inside that small, warm skull, inside a brain more emotionally sophisticated than any of us were taught to believe, the dreaming will begin. Neurons will fire in patterns shaped by your voice. Mesotocin will bloom in circuits mapped to your face. Crest muscles will twitch through emotions felt only in your presence. And the most likely character in that dream, the face that appears most often, the voice that replays most clearly, the presence that generates the deepest neurochemical warmth, is yours. You are the main character in your cockatoo's dreams. You just never knew it until now. Like this video if you'll never watch them fall asleep the same way, and subscribe. They're dreaming right now.